Investing and Trading Live. Again, my name is Scott Watley. Glad to have Josh Lilquist with us each week now. Hey, Fridays, noon to 1, right here on KLZ 560. Josh is with us, president of Online Trading Academy here in Denver. Once again, 888-682-6466 is the number. And we are going to try to help as many people out as we can with just this show each week and just talk about different things, that maybe even terms we've all heard about, but what do they mean and how can we apply them to our life? Is it good for us? Can the risk, hey, when to take that, when to not. So we're going to be helping you out as much as we can here. And Josh, you mentioned wealth, and I think that means a lot of different things to a lot of people. But I looked up something this morning. I want to get your opinion to see if you say what you feel about this statement that I read. It said, creating wealth is about diligently investing in yourself, education, and knowledge, learning the basics of finances, understanding risk and reward, and appropriate risk when required, and investing appropriately. Is that how you create wealth?
You know, that is correct. I would add a little bit. There's nothing wrong
Okay.
about that statement. I would add a little bit. So you do have to get educated, but you need the right strategy, but you have to build those skills as well.
Mm-hmm.
So education will only do so much unless you actually use it, right? So I would take that a little step further and say the skills of that education, what that brings you, that's where you have the opportunity to build wealth. Because you think about how to build wealth, it's going to take a little bit of time, some capital, right? But it's not just income that builds wealth. It's extra income. Most people have one job, which what does that mean? Just over broke, right? And what happens is people have that one job and it maybe pays the bills. Hopefully they can have some fun, but it doesn't leave enough for people to save. And how you save is having extra income. So why not have the opportunity to use the market to have that potential to build that wealth? So maybe your job pays your bills, some fun, and then that second source potentially funds that wealth bucket, whether it's a 401k or an IRA, right? So, and also one thing I wanted to kind of clarify as well is you mentioned the word risk a couple times. I
Mm-hmm.
believe you said it in the first segment, and I didn't talk about it there, but I think it's important to talk about risk for a second. You want to minimize risk, and that's what it said in that thing you read here today. It's by taking
Right.
some risks in the market. Most people put too much risk in the market, partially because they don't know. But the key of trading and investing is to minimize your risk in the financial markets. It's managing your capital like the banks and the institutions do. So, as I mentioned in the last segment, the institutions, they actually move the financial markets. It takes millions and billions of dollars to do that. And they always are taking low risk, high reward, high probability entry points in the markets. That's exactly what we want to do as traders and investors.
Mm-hmm.
Unfortunately, most people aren't trained and counseled how to do that. How are most people trained to trade? Buy and hope, right? Notice I said buy and hope because
Yep.
that's the strategy that it is. So you have to take calculated small risk that actually helps people be more comfortable in the financial markets. So once you're comfortable in the markets, that'll hopefully bring more consistency and then have that opportunity to build your wealth with multiple sources or potential multiple sources. And the markets just might be that avenue for some people listening right now.
Right. And I like what you said earlier that well, you do not need a financial degree, and probably better if you don't to
Yeah.
come into one of these classes and all. But then let's talk about the minds. I mean, so what do you say? Hey, folks, you know what? We're going to do our best to help you, but try to get yourself ready in this mindset when you come to our class. What kind of mindset are you looking for with folks that come in?
Well, what Online Trading Academy trains and teaches, it's a proprietary strategy. So it's something that no one's ever seen before because it comes from the floors of the exchanges. Most people are trained and conditioned by what's probably the worst place to go is YouTube. They have great funny videos, but I tell you what, financial education on YouTube is the worst place you can go. So you
Right.
almost have to have the mindset to be able to learn something a little bit different. And that's sometimes the challenge for people is learning different things because if they've seen something on YouTube, I mean, I tell you what, Scott, you know me. You've seen me before. I look like a French model, and my profile online says I'm a French model. Bonjour, right?
Right, right. Yeah.
Well, thanks for not saying anything because I do not look like a French model. But so that's the key is you have to be willing to learn something a little bit different from people that have been in the markets and have built longevity in the financial markets. And that's why Online Trading Academy has been around for over 25 years. Think about that for a second. Not many companies actually go 25 years. That's a phenomenal accomplishment in the
Anything, yeah.
especially in the financial industry. So that's one of the great things is people can come to these investing classes and know it's a company that'll be there for a long time. We have several locations locally here in Denver, and we've been giving away tickets too. So I don't want to forget that. I mean, we have these investing classes to learn those skills and techniques to have the opportunity to build wealth, whether it's 401ks or IRAs. They can just text the word investing to the number 210-210 for 2 free tickets for our investing class locally here in Denver. We have these classes during the week. We also have these on the weekends. When they get set up, they're also going to receive a quick start kit. There's a couple things in this quick start kit. It's some content on how to get started right away, but also some free stock picks are actually in there, so they can kind of see what the strategy looks like on a price chart, because that's where we're making our financial decisions. So just text the word investing to the number 210-210. Or for people that listen online, you can go to investwithota.com.
All right. And you said it earlier, and we both mentioned, boy, we wish during high school, whatever, in college, that we would have learned more about finances and just the importance of it. So, with folks that have sitting here saying, "Man, all this sounds great, guys, but I'm 65 years old." I mean, there's still hope. Yeah, hey, would have been better for all of us if we'd have started at 20, 25 years old. But there's still hope. It's never too late to just try to start taking some control of your life now, right?
Hey, think about this. 65, you've just passed halftime. That's it. You have many, many more years to live. Most people do. I mean, people are living longer these days. The average is what? I believe that's went up to 80. Is it 83? If I'm not mistaken, the average age people are living to. So you just passed halftime. You have still almost half your life to live. And those are supposed to be the golden years. So to answer your question, that's a great time to get started because you still have that time and you need it. Let me ask you this, Scott. Is it cheap to live or does it get more expensive to live the longer you go?
Yeah, more expensive.
It does. What doesn't go down or what actually goes up? Healthcare.
Yeah.
Right? So you have to have extra income strategies to combat some of those extra expenses you have coming in. I mentioned on I think it was the first segment, my parents are paying double, they're both retired, double for their groceries now. So having those income strategies and building those wealth strategies. So for example, we got a little bit of time here. I want to explain a couple things because I think it's really important for our listeners to understand is when you're retired, you mentioned, is it too late? Of course not, because there's a way to use your retirement accounts to build income strategies off of them. So if people are listening, they have a 401k, maybe with an old employer, or they have an IRA and it's just being managed by somebody, or it's probably just sitting somewhere. There's opportunities to use the markets to build an income strategy off of. So options is what a lot of people use in those accounts because you can be efficient, but you're not using all of your capital. So the traditional way to put money in the markets by brokers and advisors is to put everything in the market and hope it goes up, which is 100% risky because all of your money is in the market. So what's happening right now, everybody has all their money in the market's going down, everybody is losing millions, hundreds of thousands of dollars, potentially millions of dollars, basically just a down market. I believe, I think I seen a stat yesterday, $1.6 trillion was wiped out of the market in Tuesday. I believe that's what it was I read.
Yeah.
Now, so if that's happening for you, don't let that happen. Don't just sit there and let that happen. Learn these strategies to have those income streams off of those retirement accounts, because if you're 60, 65, as you mentioned, 70, and you want to be able to do the fun things you want to do, it's not cheap, nor it is free. So maybe they have an opportunity to use, and maybe not even just draw those retirement accounts down. So if it's, let's just say, for example, an investor has some cash in an account and they want to be able to do some fun things, but they're just drawing it down. Think of your retirement account as a snow pile. It snows here in Denver, and it usually melts the same day, but it gets plowed into a pile, and it'll eventually melt if it takes a little bit of time. That's your retirement account. So eventually, that retirement account is going to disappear if you just let it melt. If you start drawing off of that, why not learn the skills and techniques to build a strategy to pull income off of it? That way, it lasts longer. So you're replenishing that retirement account every single week or day or month, depending on that strategy. So there's strategies that are designed to do that. You just have to learn that. And we talk about that in these investing classes locally right here in Denver. These classes are about 2 hours. So if you're one of those people that are listening right now that has a 401k or an IRA, or you have an old 401k, 403b, TSP, whatever that retirement account is, and you want to know what are the other options that you have, just text the word investing to the number 210-210 for 2 free tickets for this investing class. And we cover a lot about wealth. Maybe you just want to have a better conversation with your broker or your advisor. We talk about that in these classes. A lot of people, Scott, are actually coming to these classes, which is pretty cool, in their 50s and 60s. Some are retired, some are planning to retire and are looking to see, hey, what can they do to boost that or have more longevity in those accounts. So we're seeing a lot of those people come to these classes. So if you're one of those people, text the word investing to the number 210-210 for 2 free tickets. Now, most people, Scott, actually bring their spouse with them because they want their spouse to see, hey, what are our opportunities? What can we do? How can we hopefully live the life that we choose to live? So we actually encourage that. We do allow one guest. So if you have that spouse or significant other that wants to come in, we have the room for that. But just let us know so we don't overbook the class. So text the word investing to the number 210-210 for 2 free tickets for our investing class locally right here in Denver.
All right. Once again, Josh Lilquist is the guest, President, Online Trading Academy here in Denver, and you're listening to Investing and Trading Live. We will be here every Friday, noon to 1, right here on KLZ 560. When we come back, we're going to just talk about some various things here with Online Trading Academy. A little bit about the students that are coming in, and what are some of the goals that Josh is hearing from the students. So don't go anywhere. We'll be right back with Josh Lilquist.